A good Erev Shabbos. It is time to turn Friday into Erev Shabbos. I want to thank our generous Turn Friday into Erev Shabbos sponsors. The series for the year, Mendy and, make it a little lower, Mendy and Tzipora Fishman. It's Chutz for Chayrev Kavas Tzipora Friedel, memory of Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, of Yaakov Tzivin Dawud Aryeh. It's also sponsored this week by Martin and Sarah Shandelson in memory of his father, Mor Shandelson, Moshe David ben Avram, on the occasion of his yahrzeit on the 8th of Nisan. Thank you to the Shandelsons for your generosity. Thank you for the Fishmans for your generosity. And thank you for being here to turn Friday into Erev Shabbos as the siren rings and time is counting down. This is no ordinary Shabbos. This is what we call Shabbos HaGadol. This is the great Shabbos. And whether you're listening to this today on Erev Shabbos HaGadol or you're listening later, nevertheless, the lesson we're going to learn today is equally relevant. A beautiful insight I want to share with you from Rav Yaakov Yechezkiah Greenwald, who was the Papa Rav, the Rav of Papa, Rosh Yeshiva of one of the largest yeshivas in Hungary. He has a set of Sfarim called Vayaged Yaakov, and he has an Haggadah. In his Haggadah, it's called Agudas Azov, like the Metzora, part of the rehabilitation process. And the Haggadah of the Papa Rav says the following fantastic insight, particularly pertinent as we're counting down to the great Shabbos of Shabbos HaGadol, but also equally relevant to each and every Shabbos as we get ready and prepare. And he says the following, in a Shabbos whose Zecher L'Maaseh Bereshis, we know, we've spoken about countless times, that Shabbos commemorates creation. 6 days God exerted himself. 6 days God was a creative force, creativity. He invented, created, controlled, manipulated nature. And for 6 days we emulate. For 6 days we conquer the world. We study it, we learn it, we analyze it, we manipulate it, we control it. And then the seventh day, God rested. He was at peace with the world in which he created. And we too, though we show a mastery of it, we study it and we manipulate and we master it 6 days a week. On that seventh day, like Hashem, we rest. We are at peace with nature and the natural order. 6 days God created. Umemele, mishemishamer Shabbos Kodesh, yavo lidei amuna shlema biyichudo ve'achduso yizbarach shemo. So Shabbos is a testimony to Hashem's creation. We are imitating and emulating God, which is the greatest and highest form of flattery. So simply by observing Shabbos, by our suspending that need to manipulate and control, by our willingness to concede and to be comfortable with the world around us and to rest, just stop. We're always ambitious and driven and hungry. We want more and more and more. And every Friday we say Dayenu. Just like Hashem looked at his entire world and one of his names, Shem Dalad Yud Sha'amar La'olamo Dai, he said to his world, enough. The water wanted to encroach on the land, and the land wanted to overthrow the sea, and each of the elements wanted to monopolize the world. And Hashem said, die, enough, be satisfied, rest, stop expanding and growing and accumulating and amassing. Just stop, die. And that's why one of his names is Shin Dalad Yud Sha'amar La'olamo Dai. And when we sing Dayenu, we are proclaiming enough. Dayenu, die. It's enough. We don't need to expand and grow and add and accumulate. Die. What we have is enough. So God, Hashem, 6 days a week, 6 days, the original 6 days, he conquered, he controlled, he grew, he expanded, and then he rested. We do the same. And when we do, we are testifying to our faith and our fundamental belief in Hashem, that we submit and we surrender to him, that we accept his position, his providence in our life. Now, God created man when? On the 6th day. And when Hashem created us, what did he say? It was introduced to the world, Na'aseh Adam. Let us make man. Who's the us? Who's we, Kimosabi? There's one person, there's one being, Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Almighty. He's everything. He's the source of everything. To whom is he speaking when he says, Na'aseh? Let us, team effort, group effort, let us make man. What are you talking about? Let us make man. So we know, Rashi tells us, and there are many interpretations we've shared previously for another time, but Rashi there says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is modeling for the world humility and modesty. That he could have said, I'm the omnipotent, infinite being. Of course, all that I do is objectively and absolutely true and correct. But yet, I want to model humility. How do you model humility? By saying Nasa. Not I, but we. There are studies that analyze presidential speeches of CEOs. For rabbis, no different. How many times do they say I? And instead, how many times do they say we? The royal we, maybe, when they mean I, but it's an expression of humility. We. Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to express that humility, midas anava. So he said, Na'aseh, let us. Ukvar Amru Razal, Hada Kodesh Baruch Hu Nasan Torah Kedosh Al Har Sinai, Hashafa Shebaharim Lahoros Al Anava. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu choose Har Sinai, the lowest of all the mountains? Har Sinai is not impressive. It's not intimidating. It's not grand or grandiose. Har Sinai is simple and humble, and that's the exact reason. Because in order to truly receive the Torah, to accurately receive the Torah, we cannot superimpose our ego, our arrogance, our understanding of the world on it. We have to make ourselves a humble, modest, blank slate like Har Sinai to receive the Torah. By the way, that's why it says in Pirkei Avos, it says Moshe Kibel Torah not bis Sinai, but mis Sinai. He didn't receive the Torah on Har Sinai. He received the prerequisite to Torah from Sinai. He learned from Har Sinai how to be humble and modest. Hainu da'amar ilu nasan lanu as haShabbos v'lo kervanu lefnei Har Sinai davka dayenu. Says the Papa Rav, says the Haggadah Agudas Ezov. Again, relevant to Pesach, great vort for Pesach, but equally true to inspire each and every Shabbos that we have. That, what do we mean in Dayenu? Had HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ilu nasan lanu as haShabbos. If he just gave us the Shabbos and didn't bring us to Har Sinai, Dayenu would be good enough. What do you mean Dayenu? It would have been good enough to never get to Har Sinai, to never receive the sacred Torah, to never access the formula and blueprint of creation. Just having Shabbos would have been enough. Michalent is geschmack. The potato kugel is delicious, but it would have been enough even if we never got to Har Sinai. Dayenu, what? So listen to the Papa Rav. Says the Haggadah Agudas Ezov, Digam mishmir Shabbos Kodesh nuchol lemelach melaf lehidavik b'midas anava. Afilu ilu hayakervan lofnei Har Sinai. Where do we learn modesty and humility? From Har Sinai. But even if we never got to Har Sinai to learn it, ilu nasan lanu as Shabbos, we could have learned it from Shabbos itself. Both Shabbos and Har Sinai are a reminder. Both of them teach us to be humble and modest. Shabbos, in the way that we mentioned, testifies to creation, because Baruch Hu is the creator of the world, and that he said Naaseh, he consulted with the angels, and Har Sinai because it was the smallest mountain. So if Hashem would have just given us Shabbos and not brought us to Har Sinai, we still would have learned the message of humility, because Shabbos is an exercise in humility. Shabbos is a reminder of humility. Shabbos elevates us in humility. So Chevra, as we turn Friday into Erev Shabbos, as we are getting ready for Shabbos Hagadol, remember you're a katan. Shabbos is great. It's the Shabbos Hagadol because in the original year, this is when the Jewish people showed the courage and the bravery to take the deity, the animal of the Egyptians, and tie it to a bedpost before it would be offered as a korban several days later. So it's Shabbos Hagadol. It's not just talking about the length of the rabbi's drasha, Shabbos Hagadol, that is super long, although that too. But it's the great Shabbos because of the faith that we showed. But the truth is, each and every Shabbos we show great faith. We defer and we submit. We concede to Hashem. We stop trying to control the world around us. Rest. Don't even turn on a light. That's how much we're stopping to control the world. Don't answer a text or an email. Don't turn on a light. Don't get in a car. Don't cook in the oven. We're not trying to control. We're done. Dayenu. We sing Dayenu on Pesach, but really we revisit Dayenu each and every Shabbos, and that's what it means. Even if we didn't have Har Sinai to learn humility from, we would have learned it from Shabbos. So one of the ways we turn Friday into Erev Shabbos is to practice humility. No matter how good a week we had or difficult a week we had, don't beat ourselves up too much and don't see ourselves as too high and great, but rather be humble. Walk into Shabbos humbly with the people in our home and in our family, with our friends in our community. Practice humility because that is part of the very essence and mission of Shabbos. Wishing you not only a good Shabbos, but since we're not going to meet next Friday, Erev Pesach, wishing a Chag Kosher v'Sameach to everyone. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay holy. Shabbos, ayayay, Shabbos. Shabbos, ayay, Shabbos. Have a wonderful Shabbos, everybody. Get ready. Countdown. Here it comes. Shabbos.